Hello there and welcome to the Moaning Show episode 5 with me, HCD Rules 0001. And this week I will be answering the first of a few viewer requests when I talk about gambling, or gambling in the UK. Gambling is a very serious subject. It can affect people in very dramatic ways. You see stories on the television of how people have to leave their homes because of their gambling debts. Bailiffs come round and, ransack the house and take everything of value, and they still owe maybe, say, £10,000-20,000. That's really serious. A really serious side to gambling, and there seems to be a culture these days that gambling is, really popular. But I'll come to that a little bit later on. The first thing I want to talk about is the amount of advertisement for gambling. You see a lot of adverts at the moment for bingo on the telly. It's all like, let's bingo.co.uk. It's really happening place, man. Meet lots of new friends, but spend a lot of money. And a big thing at the moment seems to be a heck of a lot of bingo places and gambling places in general offering you free cash when you spend X amount of cash itself. Now, one of them, something, let's go bingo.com or something like that, I can't quite remember the proper name of it, advertises a free £25 when you spend £10. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is that giving money away? Or, obviously it's a way to get people playing the game, but I'd just rather have the 25 quid full stop. An extra 25 quid in my bank account actually would double my current bank account. I'll make no bones about I don't work or anything at the moment, but, it's free £25 when you spend 10. Can I just have the 25 quid, please? Anyway, that seems to be the way that these companies tend to hook players in. But you see a lot of them on the TV saying that, oh, we have the best odds to win stuff. Yeah, a win in any form of gambling can be the lowest win possible, and not many people can realise that. You have to be extremely careful when it comes to any form of gambling, as I said earlier, with people, bringing up debts and all sorts of, terrible things that can happen to people when they gamble. For instance, say like on an episode of Bullseye, where you see the winning players, they got, say, between 200 and 500 quid in prize money from the first round. They've won 4 or 5 prizes in the prize board round, and they gamble all of that, the money and the prizes, and 9 times out of 10 they don't win a penny. They don't win, they don't win the main prize. And that's what gambling is all about. You put in what you can to try and get something bigger or something better. That's, most of us, I would say, gamble twice a week, because in November 1994, I remember it well because I've got our lottery ticket in our scrapbook, it's somewhere around here, that the National Lottery was set up in 1994 in November. The first draw was in November, and a lot of us play the lottery hoping that we get those 6 balls up on the specific nights to give us an easier lifestyle, to give us our dreams, so to speak. But we gamble what money we can, we put what we can into it to try and get that all-important lifestyle that we so much crave and desire in this world, which can be a big problem, especially for low-income families. They gamble you know, to give themselves a chance. I mean, extremely low income families may be better suited to not playing the lottery here or there. Say like if you play the two draws a week in the UK, and say like if you play 5 lines per draw, that's £10 already. If you play the Euro Millions draw, which is every Friday at the moment, you can, which is I think £2 a line or something like that. I don't play it very often. I specifically only play the Euro Millions when the draw's up to over 85 million or something like that. I mean, can you imagine winning 85 million quid? I mean, I personally would get a house with like 2 different games rooms, 1 computer and 1 normal, and basically gambling is the path to dreams, and only the lucky people win the big money, and that's the problem with gambling. As I say, winners are few and far between, but according to lottery sites and all sorts of gambling sites, a win is anything from the lowest win to the highest win, and that's where people fall foul. It's like, yes, I won the lottery the other day. It's only a tenner, which is the smallest prize available, and that's the bad thing about gambling. Yes, you can win, but 9 times out of 10 it's only going to be the smallest prizes or the next prize up. We play something called Hot Picks, and we've got the say like the 3 balls up on that, and for that the prize is a darn sight bigger, but it's still gambling, you know, X amount per week, and a lot of people can't afford X amount per week. I mean, I myself believe that if we didn't play the lottery, our family would be considerably better off than we are now. Going back to the advertising sort of thing, you can't go on a page of the internet, so like if you're downloading something or if you're looking up football results or something like that, you cannot move on the internet for poker advertising. There's this guy just shuffling cards or picking up chips and just dropping them on the table, and it gets really bloody annoying, you know. It's like, play here, this is real cool, and you just know that those players, if you were to play poker just once, if you were remotely good at it, which I'm not, I'm nowhere, I have trouble in a game of snap, never alone a game of blooming poker, but these guys will kick your ass and fleece you for everything you've got. You know, to these guys 20 quid is pocket money, or, you know, 50 quid is pocket money, and these people play professionally. You can see this guy with the chips, you know, this guy plays every moment of every day that he's awake, and he makes thousands a day, you know. It's just to have, say, 2 days of that would sort me out financially, probably for the rest of my life, but that's the chance we take. And then you go back a couple of years now, it may well have stopped, but I've still got to talk about it anyway. These late night gambling shows, after most people have gone to bed, say like they start at 2 AM or something called Quiz Call or Late Night Quizzing, or, you know, stay up after such and such, so stay up after the late night news for gamble your life away, so to speak. These shows have easy answers, or supposedly easy answers, where people phone in about, you know, and pay over £1 a minute on the phone bill to phone in to give an answer to a question. Let me give you an example of one that I heard about a year and a half ago. Name something you put in a handbag. And most people would think you put in a handbag, purse, money, mobile phone, hairbrush, mirror, lipstick, you know, things like that. I seem to remember one of the answers was a brick. Another answer was a ruler, you know, that you draw a straight line with. Another answer was let's think now. Another answer was a screwdriver. But you noticed one of these calls was made and someone did say lipstick or something like that, and the people suddenly went to their earpiece, as if to hear from their boss or director or producer saying, we've got to accept one of these answers, otherwise we'll get found out. And found out a lot of people were. A lot of these things were. There were a heck of a lot of shutdowns on these type of shows, and you know, they shut down because the answers were too difficult. I do apologise if the camera's going a bit strange. The weather's not particularly good at the moment, and recording strength isn't 100%. I do apologise about that. But these shows were shut down, and a lot of them were like ITV quizzes during a programme, or something like Ant and Dec or This Morning, for instance, where they say Tom Jones had hit the green what of home, and the answers would be bridge, cat or grass, A, B or C. You have to phone these numbers and pick out the correct answer out of those three. Now 90% of people would phone in with the correct answer, and once the correct answer was selected, even if you didn't know the answer, you could phone it through all three times and get the correct answer by default. But these calls were over £1 a minute, and the scandal about 18 months ago was the fact that the floor manager won. You know, the floor manager had already been selected for the prize, and ITV and even BBC had to close down most of their competitions. For instance, the Goal of the Month competition on Match of the Day, they used to have winners of that, and usually the prize was a pair of Premiership tickets to go see your team play. And they've stopped doing that now completely. There seems to be a lot of bad press for gambling. But that's not all gambling. Just recently, at the last, there was a World Cup last year, Football World Cup, and especially when you watch the games on the ITV channel or channels that are advertising, it was saying, well, bet on the next goal, or bet who's going to score the next goal, bet who's going to win the match, how many yellow cards are going to be in the game, how many corners are going to be taken. And it got to the point where it was being absolutely bloody ridiculous. It's like they use these celebrities like Ray Winston. All right, you know, he's a fair bloke, and you know, he's earning his money. But it's like, bet now, bet on how many corners there's going to be by the end of the game, you slag, you know. And you just can't. We just can't keep having this advertising for gambling. According to a little bit of research I did on this subject, there was a Gambling Act in 2005 put through Parliament to protect people and the vulnerable about the bad bits of gambling, you know, the bad aspects of it. But considering the amount of advertising that we've got on buses, on street corners, you know, on these billboards, you know, these massive blooming great things, saying playbingonow.com, and it's like, yeah, and we're supposed to be protected by this Gambling Act. What the bloody hell's happened to it? I can't watch a program on television or adverts on television without seeing a gambling thing on it. And not only is it dangerous, but when you're down on your luck and when you're down on money, and so like you just need a quick pick me up or something to raise your spirits, a quick gamble here or a quick gamble there. So like, even on the scratch card, which the odds of winning a darn sight better than they are winning on lottery and bingo and all that sort of stuff. You win 2-3 quid. It makes you feel good. That's why people do it. It's dangerous. The world of gambling is extremely dangerous. And to a lesser extent, amusement arcades. Now they're some of the worst culprits of all. They're bloody sneaky bastards, pardon my French. But say like say like during the year you've saved to go on holiday, and you've saved your coppers and your little 5p's, 10p's even, and you've got these moving machines that go backwards and forwards with 2p's, the ones I'm talking about, and you put your 2p in or your 5p or your 10p in, and to time it to push a couple of pennies out, that's gambling, in a very small sense. But sometimes you can lose a bloody fortune in these places. Gambling is very dangerous, but with the research I did earlier, there's one plus point as far as I'm concerned, and according, as I say, to the research that I've done for this subject, apparently £6 billion a year goes into the economy. 6 billion quid for people that are unaware of it. 6 billion in this current economic climate and current financial crisis. 6 billion quid is a heck of a lot of money, and you have to be very careful with how you go about it in terms of the argument for and the argument against. There's a heck of a lot of minus points, as I've just been talking about, as you've just heard, but 6 billion a year to the current economy, that's a heck of a lot of money, and quite frankly money at the moment that seems to be needed. I don't personally gamble. If I had continuous money coming in from a job or whatever, I might gamble, but I've got better things to spend my precious, so-called precious cash on. But as I say, gambling, as I keep saying, is very dangerous if you're caught by the bug, and a lot of people are addicted to gambling. You see stories on the TV that this person's been locked up because he's been addicted to gambling. Maybe that's the best thing for him. But that's about all for this week on the Moaning Show. Again, I apologise for any jumps and weird camera angles or weird camera problems. As I say, the quality of the picture isn't great, but this camera is from a PlayStation 3. I'm recording it with no previous experience at recording videos, so obviously I do have a little bit to learn as far as that's concerned. Again, sorry about the picture quality, and I shall see you next week for episode 6.